gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
On today's episode, we'll be talking with SGM Haliste, who runs the events team for Gemstone and has been involved in numerous projects over the years. She's going to talk all about her experiences with Dusk Ruin, Rumor Woods, that one big event in October that for complicated personal reasons I can't really say the name of until I get some formal adjudication on the matter. And she'll also talk about the other work she does, the script she's worked on over the years, what it's like to build cool items, and how to coordinate a massive team of people trying to pull off a huge event that is going to make a gigantic and very diverse player base super happy across the board. So, grab your fancy ticket booklet and welcome to the 17th episode of Town Square Central. I am very excited to welcome to the show today, and I haven't even practiced this, SGM, I'm going to get it wrong, SGM Haliste.
Actually, that's correct.
Which
it
one?
It is Haliste.
Hey!
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Haliste, welcome to Town Square Central.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited. That's also got to be the worst intro I've ever given a person, but I am very excited to talk with you because I've been trying, I know how busy you are, to get you on here for a long time, so I'm really pumped to have you.
Well, it's good to be here, and you can thank COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Now you've got a little bit more time, right?
Yeah, just a little.
Well, we'll start with your background. So tell us, what do you do for work?
I manage a box office for a classical music festival.
Okay, and what part of the world do you live in?
I live in Western North Carolina.
And I would imagine there's not a lot happening in the world of classical music in Western North Carolina right now.
No, unfortunately, it is pretty quiet at the moment. We just canceled our 2020 season, our entire summer festival. And we bring about 425 students in from all over the world, many from Asia. So you can imagine when all of this started, how it was, we knew way back, in January, February, that it was probably going to impact us negatively.
Yeah. Yeah, that really is unfortunate. But the upside is now you have all this time for gemstone-related work, right?
Tons of time.
And do you have any pets, any kids?
Yes, and a husband.
And a husband. Wow.
Yeah,
okay, the
well,
trifecta.
but sometimes he straddles that pets, kids kind of thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm nothing like that myself.
Yeah, we have two pets. We have a golden doodle who is about 6.5 months old.
Yeah.
Her name is Beatrice. And we have a 12-year-old beagle who's about a third of the size of Beatrice, and her name is Zoe.
I can imagine.
And we have 3 kids. They are all grown. My oldest is, I think he's 31.
Just ballpark it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
31. He's getting his master's at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And we have a son who's 25, and he's a deputy sheriff here where we live, and a daughter who is 24, and she's in the service industry, so she is not working right now.
And other than Gemstone, what is it that you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, well, let's see. I recently traveled, well, not recently. Don't freak out too much.
Like last night.
No, a couple months ago I was down in Wuhan.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. Okay, I'm cutting that because that will make me sound so dumb. I can't. Well, now I guess I have to leave it in. Anyway, you were traveling.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's just, I'm gonna blame the sleep deprivation. But continue.
Okay, that's cool. So I took my first out of the country trip. We went to Ireland at the end of last summer, and so I've decided that that's my new hobby.
Going to Ireland?
Well, just traveling in general,
okay.
getting out. We usually cruise, and it was really neat to actually be on foot in a different place.
Yeah, I've heard that's a really beautiful country to be on foot in too.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's really nice. So that's a new thing. I just picked up some crafting while I've been at home with my daughter, and that's been a newfound hobby. So that's been really cool. We've been doing dot mandala painting.
Dot mandala painting.
Yeah.
Is it like with? Okay, I'm gonna look it up. I was gonna guess, and I don't want to be wrong. So.
Well, you can guess. It's okay.
Is it with sand? I think of sand when I think of mandala painting.
No, it's actually with paint.
Okay. Hence the word paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's hard to figure out, but but you use like little dotters, almost like daubers kind of thing, and you can use household objects to do it. But anything with a flat surface that will make a perfectly round dot.
Okay, yeah, so it's these beautiful, it looks almost like a tessellating kaleidoscopic image.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Amazing. And it's incredibly relaxing and just, it's a really neat craft, and it was fun to find it and explore it with my daughter, who I'd never really got to spend a whole lot of time with because she's kind of like a social butterfly, so she's never around.
Yeah, well, and she's the youngest, right?
Yeah.
So just sort of assume that she'll work her way through. Yeah.
Yep.
And so what is one TV show, a movie, or a game, some sort of media that you think everybody in the world should experience at some point in their lives?
Obviously on TV show, it's Game of Thrones.
Okay. Except for that last season, though, right?
What do you mean?
Did you like the last season?
I loved the thing from start to finish. I've watched it 7 times.
Oh, my God. So I'm... Okay. Love Game of Thrones, but that last season I felt so betrayed by all these like things that could have happened, and these theories that like seemed to be culminating to something just like disappeared.
I don't think they disappeared. I think everybody kind of formulated their own, scenarios and an ending, just like people do in Gemstone.
Yeah.
How things should be.
Yeah.
And we kind of, I can understand a feeling of betrayal when it didn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I want everything that I experienced to happen the way that I want it to happen. Yeah.
I mean, I guess there were some moments feeling like there was this major lack of redemption but overall I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I got my husband to watch it during my 7th run.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know, right?
I mean, that's real dedication to the show.
Yeah, I had to make him watch it like every night. He'd watch only one I'd be like, how can you just watch one episode?
Right.
I don't understand. So he's totally not about like Netflix binging or anything, but
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to get my spouse to watch that show, and the first time she tried to watch it, there was some like really gratuitous sex scene that was just like coming in cold, was really off-putting to her. So she's like, I don't know.
That was every episode.
Yeah, exactly. But then the next one she tried to watch was, and this is not a spoiler, I don't think, but was The Red Wedding. And she was just like, what is happening? And then she did some other one, and it was the one, I'm trying to say this in a spoiler-free way, the one with Theon when he is being mistreated badly.
Right.
Yeah, and so she saw that, and she was like, I am done. Yes.
Ladies?
Yes. And she's like, I am done trying to watch this show. I don't know why you watch this show. But maybe I need to do it 6 more times, and then I can convince her.
Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely takes you have to enjoy that kind of thing to begin with.
Yeah.
If you can't stomach fantasy and all of that.
Yeah, it's probably not for you.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Nope.
So speaking of fantasy, when did you start playing Gemstone for the first time?
I think it was in somewhere around 97, 98 on AOL, when just right before it went to the web. Yeah. So I was playing hourly. unfortunately.
And yeah, I was gonna. That was an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
And in the 20 plus years that you've been playing, have you been constantly playing? You've taken breaks?
I've taken breaks for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a gamer gal, and
Yeah.
I floated from game to game. I've played probably just about almost all of the graphic games, not not in the last 10 years, I would guess, but prior to that, Dark Age of Camelot and Warhammer, and I mean, all of them I played. That was my thing.
And so what is it that you think is the best part about Gemstone that keeps you here and not in those other ones?
I think Gemstone offers much more of a community than any other online game I have ever played. There's creative freedom here that you don't have anywhere else. You're not judged by that for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always one,
Yeah.
right? It's very unique. The offerings that you have, the ability to customize your character and your history, GM interactions, you don't get that kind of thing anywhere else. And I think that alone is enough to keep somebody who enjoys this kind of thing around.
Yeah. Now, you, I think, are probably closer to being able to do this than a lot of people I ask this question of. But if you could Thanos snap any single change into the game, just it would immediately happen without thinking of the consequences or going through the proper channels, what would you change about Gemstone?
I would add a Bard Guild.
Oh, man, you're speaking my language right now. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Why aren't the guilds done? I'm genuinely curious. It feels like that's not a major undertaking. I mean, it doesn't feel simple, but it feels like an accomplishable task.
I don't really know the answer to the question.
Okay, that's fine.
I would expect that it's just like most everything else in that, to take something like that over requires an immense amount of creativity, scripting, designing, coordination with other teams, because you're talking about lore, you're talking about world development. I mean, it is a culmination of more than just one person's vision for a project.
Right. It's not like you're just creating a new item that you think is cool, right? Like
no.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just huge. And so that's probably part of it. And there, I'm sure, are other things on the lists that need attention before we do something like that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so diverse in this game. There are so many facets of everything.
Yeah.
From items to hunting grounds to ascension to just so many things. And we are limited in terms of, how many GMs there are, or how many GMs can script, or how many are creative, because not everybody has the same strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
So it's like putting a big puzzle together.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like putting a 1 million piece puzzle together with like 15 people. Right.
On a 5-foot table.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good analogy for what I imagine being a Gemstone GM is like. Okay, well, that's a good answer. I also would love to see the Bard Guild magically added tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Yeah, okay, good. Throw it on the pile.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you as a GM then. How did you become a GM? Tell us sort of why you wanted to become one and what that process was like for you.
I had always wanted to be a GM, but because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
It sounded really neat, and it was just one of those things that I thought would be pretty awesome to do. But I was never the kind of player that looked at my stats and checked out, okay, well, if I use this weapon, I'm swinging with a 45 DS, and this one is only a 60 DS, and, AS. You might want to edit that.
No, I think we'll leave it in. That sounds good. You're proving your point. You're proving your point.
It's true. I just didn't care. I didn't care about that aspect of what I was doing.
You were into like the character as a character,
yeah,
right?
and I loved the role playing part of it.
Yeah.
So, that was probably the biggest element to why I thought I would never be hired as a GM, because I wasn't a number cruncher and I wasn't, very knowledgeable on the mechanics side of things. But after I went through the interview process and, filled out the application and talked to some of the other GMs and that kind of thing, I realized that, again, as I said previously, not everybody has the same strengths. It would be a very boring game if everybody did exactly the same thing and had, carbon copy knowledge.
Yeah.
So, I used to chat with Kenstrom quite frequently, and, he encouraged me to apply. And so I did.
And how long have you been a GM?
I was hired in March of 2013.
Okay.
So about 7 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So what's it like day to day for you being a GM?
It is both wonderful and sometimes horrible, all in the same hour.
So tell me why.
It can be really stressful. I'm sure that every GM has different experiences because we all deal with different elements and aspects of the game. Somebody else who does a lot of merchanting or, runs a lot of GM shops and that kind of thing, or NPC shops, they're going to deal with players a whole lot more on a very different level than I will, for instance. I'm more behind the scenes on events, unless there are problems or bugs or things like that I need to address. But, I don't spend nearly as much time out merchanting as I used to. So a lot of my stuff is behind the curtain, so to speak. And, it can range from being frustrated because I can't get a script to do what I want it to do, either because of limitations in the language or because I don't have the expertise or knowledge to figure something out, or, it could be not being able to come up with messaging that I like, or, it's just like any other business. We all get upset with each other too sometimes.
Sure.
It's just like an office.
Yeah.
And although it's very different because you're not really talking to these people day to day, you kind of make assumptions that we all know exactly what everybody else is thinking and doing, and all of that. It's kind of the same but completely different because you're isolated behind a computer screen.
Right. Well, I was going to say that's the other interesting thing to me about that role is that in an office, at least, yeah, you have the shared physical space that itself forces a kind of closeness on you, right?
Right.
I mean, literal physical closeness. But you also then are going to have like probably like a common neighborhood or city, right? Like we're all from Pensacola. I don't know why that's what came to mind, but it is. But yeah, you're in different time zones. You may not even like actually physically talk to them. You may just type to them, which itself like can leave out a lot of communication. And as you mentioned, like I may be a min-maxing numbers coding guy, and you may be the touchy-feely, like I just want to make beautiful things person, and like we may not see things eye to eye, right? So yeah,
Right.
I can see that leading to both some really good things, like when that goes well, and potential conflict too.
It's true.
Yeah.
But then you have opportunities and situations that are incredibly rewarding,
Right.
much more so than a regular job. My right hand, who is GM Tendawa.
Is that the hand? I'm trying to think of what the Game of Thrones term is. The hand of the king, right? So this is the hand, the hand of events. I don't know how to put that.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
I couldn't do what I do without her. And when we're able to pull together and create things and get an event going, it's incredibly rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it's not just me and her. We have so many hands involved in events,
right?
And we couldn't do it without any of them. But she's certainly my biggest helper.
And so let's talk a little specifically then about your role, because we haven't. So you are the SGM, which is the senior game master for the events team. So what specifically is that? What specifically, what specific work do you do on the events team, and how is that different from the kinds of work that other folks do?
I mean, being on the events team means that we run the events. I mean, it's very simple.
But so do the events, does that include all events? Like what falls under the umbrella of events?
This would just be the pay events.
Okay.
So we're talking Dusk Ruin, Ebon Gate, Delirium,
Rings of Luminous,
Rumor Woods, Summit Academy. Well, of course, that's actually part of Rumor Woods now. But so any of the pay events are what the events team handles.
Okay.
Any of the other quote-unquote events or festivals typically fall under the World Development Group. But anything that's a pay event is going to come from the events team.
And how far ahead are you normally working for an event? So, like, I know we have Rumor Woods coming up at some point in June, and then Dusk Ruin is coming up in August, and then maybe Briar Moon Cove is in there, I don't know. And then, so, like, I assume that you're working on Rumor Woods stuff and have been for a while. Like, when does the work for Dusk Ruin start up? Or has it?
Yes.
Okay. So you're working like well in advance then of each of these projects.
Yeah. And we're in fact working on Ebon Gate as well.
Okay. Wow.
And it takes that long, to pull everything together. And the larger the event, the longer it takes. The more, the farther lead time you need, because you're talking about shops and inventory and QC on all of that and storylines and...
Well, you're trying to manage all these different people who have a hand in that too, right?
Yeah.
And maybe manage isn't quite the right word, but, like if this guy has his... let me think of a shop that was at the last one. Like there was the really cool... the Leeches shop was one of my favorites. I'm forgetting who that was. I'm going to feel really bad.
I believe Leeches was Avaluca.
I think it was Avaluca. Like the Leech shop, right? Great idea, but then you have to build the shop and you have to, make sure your item is working and get it through QC and all that. So, and that's just one shop there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's just one shop.
Yeah.
It's not feeder items. It's not the games. It's not
the storyline,
the quest. I mean, there are just tons of elements to it. And, the first year that we did Caligos, it was the entire grounds that had to be painted, and we introduced a new deity. And, I mean, it was just immense. Yeah. It was just huge. Yeah. So a lot goes into one single event.
So I would imagine then that you are probably a lot more than other people, because of the nature of your work, involved with a lot of different GMs throughout the year.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know that I am more than anybody else. I just am involved with them on a different, not even a different level. It's just a different thing. I mean, GMs on the World Development team are going to work together for their festivals.
Yeah.
Or for their storylines, or, that they're doing things that I don't do on the events team.
Right.
So I don't, get out and NPC with them and talk about, let's do this storyline, or let's just go and invade with, kobolds or something.
The best invasion. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have that kind of interaction with the other GMs at all. Yeah. And in many respects, I'm very isolated. I miss that part of, that camaraderie.
Yeah, that like long-term project feel. Yeah.
I used to have it, but it's really hard.
Well, and because you started your GM career back in 2013 running the MHOs, right?
Yep, MHOs and Mentors.
And Mentors, yeah. I know that you really, really love both of those projects. So can you talk a bit about the MHOs and the mentors and what it was like being the guru of those two things.
Well, I really enjoyed, it was a way to it was a sink or swim kind of thing at the time, because the GM who was leaving that guruship, and let's see, for MHOs it was GM Ryden, and for mentors it was GM Percy. And there wasn't a whole lot of time between the time that I kind of moved into that position and when they left. And so it was really kind of like, here's everything, have fun. So it was a big challenge, and it was a great way to learn so much about the game and about the players and about, MHOs, which I really didn't know a whole lot about as a player. I mean, I knew about them, but certainly not in the same way.
Yeah.
And my PC was a mentor, so I did have that experience. I was certainly familiar with them and what they did, but it was just very different. It was being, and I don't say thrown into in a negative way, but it was being thrown into a huge world of GMing. Whereas when you first come on as a GM, it's much more narrow. I mean, when you take over a guruship of something, whether it be a town or MHOs or anything else, it really broadens your responsibilities and your workload.
Yeah, I would imagine you can't really. Well, you didn't get to just ease your way into it then, right?
No.
You were just thrown in head first.
Yeah.
Well, and luckily you swam. You didn't sink, right?
No, I didn't sink. And I really enjoy that kind of challenge. I like staying busy. I like having a lot of things to do. So it was really right up my alley.
And you've also shared with me that you did a ton of work on a ton of what I would call gnome work. Like you did Gnome Fest with the Clock Tower event. You wrote some documentation for forest gnomes. You developed a forest gnome area. You did so like, why? I mean, at the risk of sounding,
why forest gnomes?
Yeah, I don't know. I think gnomes are like by far the worst race. So why gnomes?
Aww.
I know. I'm sorry. I could never. I can't even bring myself to play a halfling.
Oh my God, GM Astilda's gonna shoot you down with a lightning bolt.
I feel like Estild will just give me like a cold look, and that will be enough.
Oh, I don't know. Don't put it past him.
Okay.
He may do much more than a cold look.
I'm not gonna log in for a while then.
Yeah. I don't know. I think forest gnomes were just really kind of cool to me. I never played one, which is so funny.
Yeah. I assumed you did based on all this work you've done with them. Okay.
No, I just thought they were a cool race, and there was an opportunity to take over the guruship for them. And so I, brushed up on their history and read through all of the documentation, and I was just really intrigued by it and thought it was, another opportunity to do something I enjoyed.
Wow. Well, good for you for giving the forest gnomes a chance, because I would not have.
Well, I don't know where they are now, but
yeah. So then you eventually moved out of managing the MHOs and the other work you were doing and into the events team. When did you take over for the events guruship? Is that the term? Or when did you become the events SGM?
I moved to ASGM of World Development in early 2015, and I think I moved over to the events team within that year, somewhere in there.
Was that a move that you were looking to make, or just an opportunity came up?
The opportunity arose, and I thought, sure.
Okay. All right.
Let's see how this goes.
Okay.
But it was really uncharted territory. It was, right at the beginning of this change to pay events, because pay events were very different back before that. Back when we used the box office and when there was always a, one ticket fits all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different now. So there were a lot of unknowns when I moved over. And that was a little daunting. It was a little intimidating for me, but I thought, well, worst case scenario is that it doesn't work out and, I go do something different.
Yeah. So in addition to all of your work on the events team and with MHOs and with the the work with forest gnomes, so I just can't say it without laughing.
It's okay.
I'm not
I'll forgive you.
Thank you. I'm not going to get anything good at Dusk Ruin. You have also done, by my count, because you gave me a partial list, you've done more than 36 different coding projects, which everything from rainbowware to the whole deep sea diving system to mounts to forest armor and just, tons and tons of other stuff. So with that pretty extensive resume, talk about coding. Tell us how did you get into that work, and then how has your work with coding projects like that changed over time?
So when I first was hired, we had the opportunity to take the coding class, and never in a million years did I think I would ever be a coder. I don't know why, because I did a lot of web development, and so I was, pretty fluent in PHP, and, I loved writing scripts to handle stuff on that side of things. But for whatever reason, I didn't translate that into, hey, I want to be a coder in Gemstone. But I thought, well, because it was kind of like everything else, MHO and mentors, let me just do all of the things. So I went on and took the class for the scripting, and absolutely fell in love with it. I was fascinated by being able to conceptualize something and make it happen just by, typing it out and putting these logic thoughts together. It was crazy to me. I started out and just went, big. And I think my first script release right out of coding class was the Magic Pot, which was sold at Harry Potter in, I think it was
I didn't know that, but I really like that a lot.
Yeah. Thanks. I think it was Ebongate 2014, maybe.
Okay.
And then it just went from there. I wanted to do more and more complex things. I coded up a creature for, I think it was Ebongate, maybe 2016. I did the Chimeric Abomination for one of those storylines, which was I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I don't know, maybe I'm just, prejudiced, but you kill the abomination and then 3 other creatures would spawn as a result of having killed the abomination, and it was level based, so it pulled different creatures based on what your level was.
That sounds like not a simple project to
No,
code.
it wasn't. Yeah. Of course I say it wasn't. Of course somebody a Stilled would come in and be like, yeah, give me 15 minutes and I'll just, but for me, it was certainly a challenge. And then, moving on to things like automating the Summit Expression Fair, all of the, spell preps and having the swears and log on, log offs, automating that entire system, which, to just somebody going into the game is or going to the event would be, oh yeah, sure, this is cool. Read this sign, do this, do this, do this. But there's so much on the back end that nobody would really understand or realize exists, except for me since I coded it. But that was a huge accomplishment for me. So I had a lot of fun with that.
And so of all these things that you've done over the years, as different as many of them are, do you have a like a favorite script or thing that you've made? Just a pet project that you really, really love?
No.
You love all of them equally.
I love all of them equally. I would say mounts was really my biggest pet project that I feel has the most potential for fun factor, because it literally is limitless. And, again, that was just a huge system to get out. So that was challenging, but super awesome to actually get out and release into the game, despite all of the bugs that have surfaced with it. But I think they're done.
You've squashed most of them.
I did squash most
Yeah.
of them. Some of them are lingering because of a fix that I put in, but as once somebody assists or whatever that it's happening to them and we make this one adjustment, it won't happen again. Okay. So, yeah.
I know we talked about your role on the events team, but that's how I know you and how I came to know you as this sort of person that was off in the distance, like working on all these massive projects. And you mentioned that you're doing Dusk Ruin, Ebon's Gate, Rumor Woods, all these.
Oh, no apostrophe.
Well, okay, Ebon Gate. I've been told there is an apostrophe. I feel conflicted.
I think the box office had an apostrophe on it at one point many, many years ago, but it's definitely Ebon Gate.
Okay. So Alicia, who created the event, told me there is definitely an apostrophe and doesn't know how it got lost over the years. So now I feel very conflicted. I'm going to say the big event that happens in October.
That's fine.
Okay. So
current GM's overruled it.
Oh man, I have no comment. So when the big event that happens in October, all those things, like that, those are obviously huge projects, and they're all very different. And Rumor Woods has a very different feel from Dusk Ruin, which has a very different feel from from the event in October. Of all of those, though, which is your personal favorite?
Rumor Woods.
Okay, and why? And you developed that last year, right? During its first run, like that was your thing.
Yes.
So talk about why that one is your favorite.
Because GM Tandawa and I and others. I mean, when I say GM Tandawa and I don't mean to exclude anybody else. So, but we created that from the ground up. I don't know. It's just like a child.
Yeah.
Because it's very different when you build something like that, and every aspect of it, the lore and the activities and the shop ideas, and I mean when all of that is kind of birthed from your ideas and conversations and that kind of thing. It's really cool to see it come to fruition and then have players attend these events and have them successful. There were quite a few hands there. GM Zale was a huge part of that, and Gayleen. I mean, there's just so many that helped. So many different elements of it. I hate even starting to mention names because I'm like sitting here thinking, "Oh God,
no, I
forgotten somebody?"
No one will take offense, and I think that I get your point though. Like this is a thing that you built. You came up with this idea, and obviously you didn't do it by yourself. But like Dusk Ruin was sort of Wyram's big thing, right?
Well, I mean, if you want to get technical,
do.
Yeah, let's get technical. Dusk Ruin started out as a scrimmage project, if I'm not mistaken. And then Wyram took it over, and it grew from there.
I did not. Well, so in any case, that was not your idea, right? Like that was not your thing.
Oh, gosh,
and then obviously the big event in October has existed for a very long time, and so that's obviously not your baby either, even if you're sort of shepherding it into new phases and whatnot. So yeah, it makes sense to me why this one would feel special.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's definitely my special child.
So Rumor Woods is your special child, your favorite. Which of them is your least favorite?
I'd rather not talk about it. No, I'm kidding. Probably that event in October.
Okay, and why is that?
Because it's so big and it is so stressful and it has so many branches. It's just a huge event.
Yeah.
It is just huge. And it's a lot. It's exhausting, and Gemstone is not my primary job. So,
right.
I'm doing these kinds of things on the edge of working a full-time job that is in and of itself stressful.
And
not so
trying
much
to be
in October.
Well, I was going to say, and trying to be a spouse and a parent too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe have friends.
Yeah, I occasionally have friends.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can understand. I can understand that being stressful. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, and I just want to say it. The map that was done for Rumor Woods was like my favorite thing that I've ever seen at an event. I really, really loved that map.
Kudos goes out to GM Nets on that one.
Okay, well, that was awesome. So
yeah, that was
Nets,
a pretty cool idea.
And that should exist at every event. I just loved it. It made me very happy.
I don't think we have enough window space to do Ebon Gate.
Yeah,
but
probably not.
Maybe we could do it in like sections.
Yeah, the first floor. Yeah.
And actually, when we first designed Caligos, one of the complaints of many players is that the grounds previously in Faerop Mire were just too big. It was unruly. It was hard to navigate and remember where things were. So we tried really hard to keep things kind of linear or just very simple. And already it's kind of getting unruly because you add shops every year and new ideas and places to go and things to see. And it's hard to keep it small.
Yeah. Are there any exciting changes coming to any of these events anytime soon that you can talk about today?
Yes.
To tell us.
Well, are these exciting to me or exciting to you?
I'm mostly interested in exciting to me, but I'm willing to hear anything you consider exciting to anybody would qualify.
So, well, I'm sure that everybody knows Rumor Woods is probably going to see a new mount.
I've heard those rumors, but I don't know. What
in
mount?
The woods?
Yeah, right. Well, I'm actually not in the woods much these days. What mount are we going to see?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that.
Oh, man.
I know.
Is it a giant scorpion?
It's a giant something.
Okay. All right.
It's a giant something, but it is not a scorpion.
All right. We have narrowed it down, everybody. We know it's not a scorpion. So
now
everyone needs to ping you on the Discord with their guesses as to what the animal is.
I'm logging off right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. What can I talk about? How about the theme for this run, which is scheduled to happen toward the end of June? We are going to have a theme for it's the Battle of the Coney and the Tortoise.
So last year we had the dragon. No, I'm sorry. We had the phoenix and the snake, right?
Serpent, yeah.
Serpent, sorry. And this year, I don't want to disparage serpents. And this year we have the coney and the tortoise. And a coney is what?
It's a rabbit.
Okay, so we have... It feels like we're going from very, very extreme, like scary, mythological / dangerous things to much more relatable, kind of like comfy things.
Hey, if it makes you warm and fuzzy, go for it.
Yeah, I think rabbits make me warm. Turtles,
well, yeah,
I think turtles do too, just in a different way.
Well, it's not really a turtle.
It's a tortoise.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's... Yeah. It's a tortoise.
Okay.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Mysterious, but fair enough. And
Yeah.
so at this, at the battle of the coney and the tortoise,
Yes.
what else can you tell us?
Oh, let's see. How about resistance cloaks?
Resistance cloak. So what's that?
Well, it's a cloak that offers
I
resistance.
knew, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, so it's a new thing. We've never allowed resistance bonuses or benefits to go on anything other than armor. So this is a brand new introduction, a new release for us here at Rumor Woods. So we're super excited about that. And there will be a new shop housing all of these wonderful, beautiful things.
And are we talking like resistance to the elements, to types of damage, to everything conceivable?
Yeah. I mean, to whatever we currently offer resistance benefits on, we will have on the cloaks.
Wow.
Well, I say that, and I'm not building the shop, so I don't know specifically yet what's on the cloaks. But
You're
I
saying
assume,
that's possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's something that I think people will be pretty excited about. And I feel like the list of not just like useful in game, but like mechanically advantageous cloaks is growing by the event. You know, we got shield capes, and now we got the resistance cloaks. You're gonna start need to like double cloaking it up. You know.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, with all this gear, you've got to have somewhere to keep it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's see. We've got the theme. We've got the resistance cloaks. Oh, now here's one for you. There's going to be a really special way that you can capture a fox.
Well, you could already capture a fox, right? Like you could do that
Oh,
to earn the currency, the Riken in the game. So
yeah.
what do you mean? You mean like keep the fox?
Like, look, I went to Rumor Woods and this is all I got.
So like a pet fox.
Yeah.
Oh
Pet
man.
fox.
People are going to lose their minds over that.
A pet fox. Now, there won't be a lot of them. They will not be something that everyone will walk away from the event with. So I want to make sure that, that's really clear.
It's not going to be like the rats at the first Dusk Ruin where you had like
Oh, God.
400 of them.
No, Lord, no.
Okay.
No, they will be a rare find, but they will be there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's incredibly exciting. I definitely have something that I am now like targeting on my list for the thing that I want to get.
Well, yeah, because I know something.
It is...
I learned something about you. Didn't you tell me something about your name?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you did learn that my name has a connection to the word fox. Not my
Yes.
my actual name. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
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 And then I would be pretty excited to get one of those.
Yeah, that's pretty nifty.
And
So we're super excited about that. And special thanks goes to GM Tandawa and GM Retzer, who is working super hard on getting those out. And I should throw in that GM Zarafina is working on the Resistance Cloak Shop. So yay for those.
yeah, just all kinds of exciting stuff coming.
Yeah. And then like later after Rumor Woods, we've got something I know not everybody, but certainly a lot of people have been waiting for are the automated weddings, which will not for Rumor Woods, but they will be here probably fourth quarter. So be on the lookout for that. Perhaps when things are slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, after that event that we can't talk about in October.
Right, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I when I was playing the game originally, I remember hearing about people doing weddings, and you'd get like I think there's something about getting like custom altars or something, but can you just give us a summary of like what is the appeal to the people who want to do it of an automated wedding? Why is that a special thing?
It gives you an opportunity to have a lot of the fun things that you could have at when we had the GM weddings before, you'll still have an opportunity for some customized gear. We're not talking about shield capes and resistance cloaks, but
pet foxes. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you'll get some gear that you can then take and get customized in a special way. And you will receive, it's kind of like, you redeem your wedding token or whatever, and then you get a wedding trunk. And there's all kinds of stuff in your trunk, and you have to do things, and you'll sign up for a date. And, you're not going to be at the mercy of a GM, first of all, because it's going to be completely automated. So it'll be at your beck and call. When you're ready to move forward with it, you will, give the commands, and you'll get your invitations, and you can design them. You'll have a choice of designs, and it's just going to be, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I need to find someone now in game to marry. That's what I need to do.
Well, just, it can't be the fox.
Yeah. Well, no, hey, I'm not going there. I just know my actual spouse is never going to play Gemstones. Is not her. She's like an Animal Crossing kind of gal.
Okay. Well, is this a calling? Is this like are you reaching out to the Gemstone
I'm just
community?
Putting myself out there. I'm saying, look, I will marry you in game if you are fabulously wealthy and if you expect very little in return from me.
What if they're awesome but don't have enough silver?
If they're awesome enough to convert that awesome into silver somehow, then I'm all for it.
I think this excludes my PC.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. That means I'm not for everybody. I'm for a very particular elite group of well-off, probably insufferable people. It's like my best friend's grandma always used to say that you should marry for money and the love will come.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. She actually has had a very happy and long life, so, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't follow that advice, by the way, I in real life. So
yeah,
my player character needs to do that.
Well, I don't think I did either, but I'm still, going strong here.
Yeah,
so
you're doing okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, those are pretty exciting. Those are pretty exciting updates. Is there any other like juicy tidbits you can share with us now, or is that going to be coming later?
I think the rest will come later. We're going to start giving some teasers. I know that there was a teaser posted on the boards, I think this past weekend, about the tattoos.
Yeah.
And those are super cool if you're a tattoo kind of person. They're very, very detailed, interactive tattoos, which we haven't really had before. Like you could trace your tattoo, but this actually, you would trace different elements of the tattoo. Like if you had a rose tattoo, you could actually trace the thorns, or you could trace the leaves, or the individual petals, or whatever however the tattoo has been designed.
Just a lot more opportunity for choice in your melancholic reflection while you're sitting there like tracing your tattoo. Yeah.
Right. Or, when you're trying to intimidate the person across from you and you've got this bloody hatchet on your bulging bicep or whatever.
You just furiously trace the hatchet, the bloody part, right? Or you furiously trace the thorns on your intimidating flower tattoo. That's going to be the next tattoo I get in game is I'm just going to say to whoever's doing it, I want you to give me a really intimidating flower. That's a good task for Keelik, I think. I think he'd like that one.
Hey, go for it.
Yeah.
I dare you.
I'm gonna. You just wait.
I hope you come and show me.
Yeah, I will.
Sounds good.
Well, cool. Those sound really fun.
Yeah. We're very excited. We got a lot to do and only a little bit of time left to get it done. So my fingers are crossed.
The story of your life, right?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And, I have to put this out there. There's always a possibility that something we say doesn't happen, for whatever reason. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to pull all of these things off.
Wow. Well, they sound great. All right. So other than rumor, anything exciting coming at the next DR or October event?
Yes. Not really anything I can talk about right now in terms of cool factors. Sometimes it's tough to talk too specific about things that are upcoming, just in case, God forbid I get hit by that proverbial bus.
Yeah.
I am coding an extremely large project right now. And if something were to happen, I'm not sure that somebody would pick it up right away. It's possible that they would, for a future release, but, for me to say, yes, this is coming out at X event, and then it doesn't come out, it's tough, to swallow that kind of thing when maybe you were somebody who was, really looking forward to it, and all of a sudden it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Although in that particular case, if someone,
you think
if someone, yeah, if they were like, man, I can't believe that she died and didn't finish that project she promised me, you'd have to be a special kind of person to feel that way. Yeah, but I'm sure. All right, and then so I will say, I came back after a long period of absence, I think right after the Great Auction in 2016, and I'm so sad because that sounds like, I don't know what the actual event was, but just reading over the lists and reading all the teasers, it sounds like it was awesome. Is there any chance of another event like that happening at some point in the future?
Absolutely.
Okay, now when I say is there any chance, I don't mean like, is it possible that an asteroid hits the planet and kills us all one day? I mean,
right.
Is it non-zero and imminent?
Probably. I mean, I think those kinds of events are good on the player side. They're good on the GM side because they allow extreme creativity, which we don't always have the ability to do because of, I mean, let's be real, power, right?
Yeah.
We can't release that kind of stuff constantly. So it's not something that we can do twice a year or consistently every other year.
But once every 4 years feels like a good timeline. Just saying.
Well, we're coming up on that time, but it was probably, I mean, it took many, many months to plan and code and QC all of those items. And remember, this is happening right alongside of pay events,
right?
All of the other festivals and other events and any other releases that are happening. And there is a lot of development going on in game right now, between, post-cap.
Ascension.
All of this stuff is sucking up resources. So, you take from one side and it gives to the other.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a trade-off there somewhere.
Yeah.
And it could be that, to get Ascension out, something like a 2016 auction doesn't happen as soon as everybody would like for it to.
Well,
but I think it is imminent that something like that will take place.
All right, that's exciting. And listen, I'm not post-cap yet, so I'm completely fine with putting Ascension off because I've got plenty to work on as it is. Let all those old capped folks just stew in their wealth and excess for a while.
Well, I tell you, I finally capped my character and then never hunted again. So, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, you got to really be dedicated to the grind.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up here, in thinking about, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty about the entire planet at this point right now for what the future looks like, but what is a goal that you have for yourself for the next year of GM work?
It's a pretty small goal, but I'm determined to create another Cotwin Forest quest.
I don't know what that is, so I need you to educate me.
Oh, did you go to Briarmoon Cove?
No, I didn't.
Oh, golly. So Cotwin Forest was a quest that I coded specifically for Briarmoon Cove, which was a pay festival that happened back in I want to say 2015. It might have been 2016. This was just a little side quest that players could participate in, and completion of the quest gave entry to a shop that sold forest armor.
Oh.
That's where forest armor originated. But it was very much like Zork. So it was really very much like that. You know, you went into the forest, you were given a list of tasks that you had to complete, and you had to wander through this forest and figure out how to get into the house, and you had to figure out how to get into a basement to find an object to go use and build a fishing pole to, and at one point you had to go into a dark cave and you couldn't see anything in there, and I really wanted to talk about a grue, but I thought, no, I'd get in serious trouble with, copyright infringement or something.
Yeah,
right. But I had a lot of fun doing that, and it was really well received. It was just a fun kind of experience. It wasn't, do this and you get a free prize or anything. It was just a fun activity.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to get another one of those written.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds fun. We don't have a date for the revisit to Briar Moon Cove yet, do we?
We do not.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think things have kind of been a little bit crazy. I'm sure you can understand.
Oh, yeah.
People being at home now with children and all of that. It's kind of infringed on some schedules.
Absolutely. I mean, as I told you before we started recording, like, I am hanging on to my sanity by, like, the skin of my teeth. So I'm not going to begrudge anybody that's a little bit behind on their planning for an event. Like, don't worry about it. Take care of yourself. I get it.
Yeah, it's coming, but I don't know the specific date for that.
Yeah, real soon now.
Yes, RSN.
Yeah, real soon now.
We got it.
Well, it has been really, really fun to talk with you, and I learned a lot, and it's been a great conversation. I'm now really excited to find out what you have decided is more worthy than the Scorpion for people to be riding around on at Rumor Woods, but I guess we'll find out in about a month.
Yeah, not too long.
Yeah. All right, well...
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I really
thanks so
enjoyed
much.
the time.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Many thanks to Haliste for coming on the show today. Also, a special thank you to Ephrup, Lucktar, Lysel, Warclade, Hellman, Darren, Heather Ann, Lex Bubba, The Town Crier, Dree, Halif, Zorus, Altherin Conrash, and CEO Mantha for being patrons of the show. If you like Town Square Central and you want to support it, please consider becoming a patron on Patreon. The link to support the show can be found in today's episode notes. That's it for now. Get out there and sharpen up your survival skills so that you, too, can start frantically scouring the bushes for pet foxes. And then, when you find one, give it to me. Seriously, I would be very happy to take it. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time on Town Square Central. Continue.
No, you like totally freaked me out. I'm like, oh God.
No, you got it right. You got it right. I'm just going to cut
cool.
out the part where I sound stupid.